Welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites, to another very interesting and actually pretty important discussion-related video regarding Marvel's Avengers, of course, because we've been going over the recent news where we finally got another trailer about the game, kind of unveiling a bit more stuff relating to AIM, and of course, a new character reveal, quote-unquote new, of Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel, seeing her gameplay and all that, and we also got a recent update regarding to how long the game is possibly going to be, with the main story, the primary campaign, ranging around 10 to 12 hours, just like the previous Tomb Raider games, which isn't short, but it still is shorter than the majority of these other superhero games that we have seen, like some of the Arkham games, and of course, Spider-Man PS4, but it's a difference because it's co-op and extended content for years to come, so we don't know how that's all going to work just yet, but for the ballpark range that they gave, that one of the main people from Crystal Dynamics talked about, Rich Briggs, said it would probably range around 10 to 12 hours directly for the single player. So that is, take it as you will. If that makes you more hyped for it or less hyped for it, that is all up to you. But the main discussion that a lot of people have been losing hype over and actually been kind of getting in fights or arguments or just instantly canceling the game or just trying to say that it's a bad version of the Avengers or whatever, all this crazy stuff that's going on, is in fact the inclusion of Kamala Khan and / Miss Marvel in the game. Now before, of course, why wasn't this a problem prior? Because when we got the very first trailer in 2017, the really small teaser trailer, it was just, you know, images of the Avengers' weapons and their uniforms, like Captain America's shield and Thor's hammer and Iron Man's gauntlet. Like, what's going on? What is this? And you hear this person narrating in the trailer, like, I know the truth, you know, it's time for us to reassemble. Who's this? This is pretty intriguing. What's going on here? And the rumor was it could be Black Widow or Scarlet Witch or Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Those are all speculations. And now, where we got the footage that was shown off technically in San Diego Comic-Con, and then it was released to the public in Gamescom during August, where they showed the full A-Day gameplay after E3, where they just showed the 5 main Avengers, said we got more heroes to come. They also teased Ant-Man. No Hawkeye still, but Bill Roseman pretty much has heavily teased him, like, we're huge fans of Hawkeye. Stay tuned, true believers. And, of course, he's a big member of the Avengers in the comics, so it makes sense that Hawkeye would be in the game, as well as these other characters like Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Vision. They're all going to be in the game. I can already tell you. I don't know for sure, obviously. I don't work for them or anything, but it just makes sense. Added characters down the line for the Avengers. I would assume that those big, huge characters that everyone loves, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Vision, Scarlet Witch, they'll be in the game eventually down the line. But what we did see also during E3 is this person narrating again. Like, oh, this person's back. Like, oh, you know what they say, never meet your heroes. Well, I did, and it was awesome. And then they showed the same gameplay again at Gamescom with, surprise, not really, is that the main person who was narrating the trailers is Kamala Khan. She was young at A-Day. She got exposed to the Terrigen Mist, and of course that leads her into becoming Miss Marvel. And then, of course, now recently with this brand new New York Comic-Con trailer, we got a full-on story trailer, essentially showing even more of A-Day. If you think about it, it just goes over more events relating to what A-Day did to the team, and of course they're starting to finally dive into AIM's presence. What is AIM up to in the story? How is that affecting the team? What did they do after the 5-year time gap from A-Day to now? That's all interesting, I guess, but the main focus was Kamala Khan. So we saw her gameplay in action. We saw her fighting AIM soldiers, taking them down with her Big Powers. We got a full-on character breakdown of her on the Hero Week and the Twitter page, and on this article from PlayStation, breaking down the trailer, basically. And wow, the reception that it has been getting is something that I did not expect. And I say that because everyone should have known that she would be in the game. She was already teased in the first trailer, shown off in the gameplay, get exposed by the Terrigen Mist, and she's involved in the game, so of course. And it was upsetting to me that, oh, this fan-favorite character, this exclusive character spotlight, this brand new character, turned out to be Miss Marvel during New York Comic-Con. I thought, well, we knew she was in the game, and everyone saw this coming, so I thought you would either do, hopefully, Spider-Man or Hawkeye or whoever, but not Miss Marvel. But, okay, you're going to analyze her and break down her gameplay, that's fine. But now, it actually has been recently confirmed by the developers themselves, the creative director, and one of the combat designers of the game, that not only is Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, featured in the Avengers project as the 6th character to be revealed on the roster of characters, you'll play as her, use her special powers, all this stuff. Not only is she just a character, they revealed officially in Marvel's Avengers, she is the main protagonist slash main character of the entire game. And that has set the internet on fire. So what I mean by this is that, you know, just go onto IGN's YouTube video or Twitter page where they basically broke down Kamala Khan's involvement in the game, and some of them actually got to play as Kamala Khan at New York Comic-Con, and they got to try out her gameplay hands-on, and they said, oh, she's like the most fun character to play as in the game with her stretching abilities, her embiggen powers, and that's really cool. And there will be a lot of variety compared to the other characters, and even the combat designer, Vince Napoli, has said that she is one of the more melee-centric characters, like the only pure melee combatant character we'll play as, with her stretching abilities, fighting people, growing big, kicking them, all this stuff. So there's a lot of details about her, but the main thing that everyone has been kind of discussing about recently, including myself, which we will get into that, is that she is officially the main character of the whole game. Not one of the Avengers, not Iron Man, not Cap, even though he died, not Bruce Banner, even though he kind of is his own, rogue person, not Black Widow, same thing, she's a rogue spy, not Thor, who left, but no, of course, it's reassemble, so we gotta gather them all back, and who else to do that than Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. And, it's a new take, for sure. This is, again, super different from the MCU. We've never seen her in the movies yet, even though Phase 4 is going to have her own TV show, I believe, on Disney+. And there's a lot of people who are fans of her in the comics, and they're really excited to see her in this game as a character. But a lot of people have been pissed, essentially, that she's the main centric focus point character of this entire story. And I'm a bit indifferent towards the whole situation. But to just analyze it a bit more for you guys who haven't been on Twitter or have seen these posts from these developers or from IGN themselves, the first post to confirm, well, wait, they never really said she's the main character of the story. She's just a character that will bring back the team. And we will play as Iron Man and Captain America and Hulk after we get them back together as Kamala. Sure, but no. From this first post from Matt B. Guido, who is a combat designer, actually, at Crystal Dynamics, or Square Enix, I believe, working on the Avengers project, he directly states, flat out, incredibly excited to finally show our main character, Kamala Khan. So, right there from the man himself, who actually is working on the project, is saying that he is indeed stating for a fact that Kamala is the main character of this story for the game. And to build upon that, we also have an article from Sean Deskai, the creative director of the game, basically breaking down everything that you need to know about Kamala's involvement in the story with AIM and all that, but the main highlight of this article is where he discusses about the role of bringing the team back together and also the perspective of Kamala to the player, us, the gamers, interacting with her as a character and in the story. So what he says, which I find very important if you actually are invested in the narrative and like, wow, what happens with the Avengers after A-Day? What's going on? This is pretty important to know. So he says, Sean, from, Crystal Dynamics, creative director of the game, states, creative director and writer Sean Deskai describes why Khan was important to the gameplay and story. Telling our story of Kamala's coming of age brings a fresh, hopeful perspective to the gameplay experience, and her unique abilities as Miss Marvel make her a character every person will want to play. We'll see. He adds, Kamala Khan is the defining ingredient that makes our game stand apart from any Avengers story you've experienced before. So, again, that is kind of a half-and-half statement. So, obviously, he's referring to the MCU. We've never seen Kamala in the MCU yet interacting with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, all the main heroes from the films. But at the same time, if you read the comics, that's not the case. Like, this makes it different from any story you've seen before with the Avengers. So, you mean the comic books, where she is literally a new Avenger with Miles Morales and, all these other characters that pop up on the team, female Hawkeye and all this. So it's like, are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure that there's tons of comics, including her with the Avengers in those stories. But, to be fair, we've never seen her on this huge AAA scale before. And this story that will expand narratives for years to come. In this huge scale, AAA, big blockbuster budget game, granted, that is a fact that we've never seen her actual kind of origin in this way before. We've seen it from the comics, we will see it in Phase 4, but in this way, they're telling her story, her origin, her character in a new way we haven't really seen before in this game's universe. So, to be granted, I will give them that. But, at the same time, You would think in a game called Marvel's Avengers that the main character wouldn't be Kamala Khan, who was recently introduced 5 years ago. And that is very, I would say, bold for sure. That's a very huge jump to make her character the main narrative focus point protagonist of this entire game's story. That is a huge choice to do, and I respect them for doing that, but I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. You could have her as the main factor to bring them back, sure, like, oh, Iron Man is depressed, Hulk is trapped in his Hulk state, like what they've talked about all the characters, Cap's dead, Black Widow's her own spy, and Thor kind of left Mjolnir at Cap's memorial, and he stopped being Thor. And then they bring back together because of Kamala's energetic spirit and her young energy, because she loves these heroes, and like, wait, AIM is messing up around here, we gotta stop them, but in order to stop them, I can't do it myself, I gotta reunite the team, I gotta bring the band back together. In that manner, it makes sense. Narrative-wise, story-wise, I get it. But, to be fair, it is a narrative we have kind of seen be played out not only in the MCU, but just a standard story. Like, the team has disbanded, they've broken apart, and me, the hero, I gotta bring them back together, and then we'll save the day. So, it's not the most original story, what we know of so far. Like, who knows, down the line, it could be, you know, ever-expanding with Hydra, or space. Maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy will get introduced somehow to connect with the other Square Enix game, the free-roaming Guardians of the Galaxy game. We don't know. We have no idea what's gonna come after the main narrative is over, but we do know that she is the main character of this story as of right now. And also to expand upon that a bit further on the Marvel's Avengers Twitter page, after the statements from Shauna Skye and Matt, who is actually the combat designer from Crystal Dynamics, working with Vince Napoli on all the characters' movesets, the Marvel's Avengers Twitter page is now breaking down Kamala Khan's costume and how the design was inputted within the game, and how they try to craft Kamala in their own unique way compared to the comics and whatever. And we get more of a bit of a background to her role in the game, and also a really odd role that I don't like with Iron Man's inclusion with her character. So, what it states on the Twitter page, we wanted Kamala to have a strong origin arc from fangirl to superhero, as a representation of the player's journey. The player's perspective is aligned with Kamala's, says Crystal Dynamics game director Tor Blystad, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but that's what he says to get the player invested with her character to see the narrative from her perspective. So, the same thing recently, Joker. You're seeing the movie from Arthur Fleck's perspective, because there's something in the movie that happens, which I won't spoil, that isn't as accurate as you would think it was, because it turns out that Arthur was thinking this was happening the whole time. And it, you know, it is different from how it actually happens, because we see the movie from his eyes. So they're trying to do this for Kamala Khan in the Avengers. Same thing, Spider-Man. Spider-Man PS4, he's the main character. Peter Parker, you see the game through his eyes, but you also get to play as Mary Jane and Miles Morales. They're not the main characters, but they are pretty relevant to the story that's surrounding the game. But everything that you're seeing in the game is seen through Peter's perspective. So this is the difference between that, is because there's so many characters in the Avengers. You got the main five, you got Ant-Man, you got Kamala Khan, and all the other heroes that will be added down the line. So, of course, you have to point out, well, who's the main character? Who's the one and only primary protagonist that is driving the narrative forward, or what's, you know, increasing the story that we will see through their perspective? And what they're saying is that it's Kamala Khan. You will see the story of these heroes reassembling, banding together again, increasing their heroic deeds, and fighting off all these enemies after the Golden Gate Bridge A-Day event, fighting off AIM, through the perspective of Kamala Khan, as a different way that we've never seen before in this high action-adventure type AAA game. Yes, it is different than what we've seen before. It is interesting to see it from a character who hasn't been utilized as much. You know, in other media, she's been in cartoons, she's been in comics, she's been in, now, the movies. You know, MCU, Phase 4, she's getting her own show. But this is a pretty big, bold, and essential move for this game, and what we're expecting to go from here on out with, oh, is she going to interact with Ant-Man? Is she going to interact with Black Panther? Is she going to interact with Doctor Strange? Most likely, because she is the primary protagonist, and she will connect these heroes together to fight off AIM and the other threats that will come for years on. And if it's good, I don't know, but so far, this one point also from the Twitter page kind of has me taken aback by it. So, after that interesting point from Tori, basically saying that you will see the campaign through her perspective, which is very important, he then goes on to say, or the Twitter page, I should say, goes on to state about her role in the game, We took the core inspiration from the iconic Miss Marvel costume from the comic, especially the Miss Marvel #2 cover for the game. But since our Kamala has to stand side by side with the other Avengers, she gets some help from Tony Stark, who designs and makes her outfit. So that is already a red flag to me, because what does that remind you of? Peter Parker in the MCU, where Tony makes his Spider-Man suits, the Homecoming suit, the Iron Spider suit, and I think that was it. I mean, what? There's the Stealth suit, which S.H.I.E.L.D. makes, technically. The Far From Home suit, the Bosco suit, the black and red one, which Peter makes with Stark Tech, and then the Homemade suit, which Peter makes. But basically, that's exactly what they did in the MCU. So again, that's the issue I have, is that a lot of these story points seem very familiar and very similar, like almost too similar to the MCU. 5 years later, Endgame. You know, Cap is dead, so not even though Cap didn't die in Endgame, but characters did die in Infinity War and all that, so all this happens. Well, I guess you could say Cap did technically die after Endgame because he got old, but whatever. Tony died in Endgame. You get what I mean. So all these narrative points are going back and forth between the game and the movie and the movies from the MCU, and it doesn't feel original enough. Yes, you have a whole new character that was never in the movies before, and how she will be included is a new perspective, which will be intriguing for the player to experience. And no, I have no problem that she's female, or Pakistani, or Muslim, or whatever her, you know, authenticity is, her, you know, first-generation American, what they say. And it's not that at all. And people are saying, though, that that is the problem that some people have alone. Just look at the IGN comments page, and you'll see tons of people freaking out about that, which is nuts. But a lot of people just aren't interested in her character alone. It's not due to the fact, like, again, she's a girl or Muslim or whatever. That has nothing to do with it. It's just that they don't find her character from the comics as interesting as the likes of, I don't know, Captain America or Iron Man, who are the big guns of the Avengers, and who we, as the player, were expecting and are expecting to play as. You know, we got this whole story going on with Captain America. Is he dead? No, of course not, because you get to play as him. So how is he alive? What's going on there? Tony, he's depressed. He lost his Iron Man tech. So what's going on there? That's interesting. But the main focus of all these characters won't be them. It'll be Kamala interacting with them, and she'll be trying to help them through their own journeys afterwards. Yes, there's these hero missions where you are forced to play as these individual characters. You'll get a little bit more backstory for all of them, but essentially, out of everyone else in the game, the main role is focusing on Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel, and how she will become, like they said, from a fangirl to her own superhero. Will it work out? I don't know. I don't care if she's a girl or whatever. That is not the problem. I just hope that they can tell a conveying, emotional, and impactful story with her character interacting with these other top-tier characters like the Avengers in this game. And they're banking a lot on the fact that people will like her. That they're saying people will love to play as this character. She's perfect. She's the one and only person to bring the Avengers back together. And meanwhile, everyone's freaking out that Hawkeye hasn't been revealed yet, which, I mean, you know, that just shows how big of a controversy this is. When people are more upset that Hawkeye hasn't been revealed yet compared to Miss Marvel getting gameplay, you know, I don't know. It just seems like it's a very interesting situation that we have found ourselves in, and that the game has found ourselves in, and how players will respond to that. You know, all I ask for, which I don't like what they're doing with the Iron Man thing, making her costume, that is very weird, where they said who designs and makes her outfit. That is a red flag instantly for me as someone who's not as fond of the MCU Spider-Man, and they're taking that exact story beat one-to-one, essentially, into the game. I don't really appreciate that as much, but I really do think, if done right, if written correctly, this could be a very cool way for them to show off Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, for the first time for a lot of people, introducing to her character, because some people in the comments don't even know who she is in this game. Who is this version of Kamala Khan interacting with the Avengers? Is she there for a reason? Is she there for an important role to bring the band together in an impactful way, or is she just there just for fluff and representation, all this nonsense that people, you know, try and politicize games for, which I don't care about. If handled right, though, it could be really, really interesting. I just gotta hope for the best, and we gotta hope for the best if it's done right. But right now, I'm a bit off-put with what they're saying so far about her character, but hopefully if there's another story trailer, it could change my perspective on the whole involvement of her with the story. We also have, I want to end on, a very impactful point from Bill Roseman, of course. We all know the Chad at Marvel Games, creative director, VP, Marvel Games. Basically saying half an hour ago at the time of this recording, Marvel Games came to New York Comic Con, and they most certainly did come to play. Bill Roseman took to the stage first and made it clear that though different people make all of the different games, they are all united as one Marvel family. So they're trying to say basically that we're all human, we're all, we're all one individual people, and we all get along just fine. And everyone has making these games. Everyone is pouring their heart and soul into making the game as best they can. Everyone is being represented in this way. But if it's forced, that's the problem. That will be my problem. If they're trying to force representation and equality and all that down our throats with Kamala Khan in the story, because I know some of the comics have been known to do that, and even some aspects of the shows, the cartoons, the Marvel cartoons. But if done right, it could be very interesting. So, again, I'm very interested to see where the narrative goes after A-Day, because after that trailer, again, like, Cap was murdered, A-Day, he's gone, and you left. Like, what's happening? I'm not really interested in A-Day anymore. I want to see something different. That trailer was not different enough, but the behind-the-scenes trailer that they did show did try to provide a bit more of a deep dive as to who Kamala Khan's character is within this game. And again, hopefully she's handled in a proper way that doesn't piss a lot of people off, and I just hope that the story overall can differentiate itself really far from the MCU, while also being original, emotional, impactful, and fun mainly fun. That's the main thing. If it's fun, then we will all, as the players, enjoy this game. But until then, that's the video I have for you today, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your comments, your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you hyped that Kamala Khan is now officially confirmed to be the main protagonist of the Avengers project, or do you not care, or are you going to cancel your pre-order like some of these comments are saying? I don't know. I just think it's a very interesting thing to know about the game and get you a better perspective as to where it could go in terms of the narrative and the story moving forward after A-Day. And I just want to let you guys know about this and give you my thoughts. But until next time, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Stay merry, Marvelites. Peace out.